traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how it started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I help formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs.
All right, so how you doing, sir?
All of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people.
November the
that
6th.
can help along the way.
Do
Don't
you know what time it is? It's Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real. We're keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon for you all across the country, and good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. For the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation. All you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to the message board at our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can send me a message, and I'll try to read off as many of them as possible. Well, let's start today with the new news. As former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Emeriti, Nancy Pelosi has announced she will not seek re-election, and there's been all kind of reaction. I must say that I dealt with Nancy Pelosi for decades, both when she was Speaker and when she was Minority Leader, and back and forward. We probably would not have had some of the legislation get through that we did want through, like the Affordable Care Act and other things, if she was not there, the strategist and the one making things happen. Other things we wanted to push through, we couldn't get through. A lot of that was the opposition. But I can honestly say that I think she has earned all of the accolades that she's getting today, and I join in it. And I posted on my social media my position on her, and I also So I think we posted a montage of some of our engagements, and I think she walked out with her head held high. She didn't walk out in scandal. and she walked out with a productive record. And I see some of you are saying online on our message board. I see what we had up. Yes, Prairie Carrington. Prairie Carrington says Pelosi came to the Enoch Pratt Library in my hometown of Baltimore last year to discuss her book. It was a great interview. The book is called The Art of Power. And she did write that book, and she toured around everywhere. And, of course, Ladybug 77 said, I'm happy she knew when to step down. Great career, Nancy. Congratulations on the retirement. And I think that's right. I think that, and you know, I think that retirement is based on when you know you've done all you can do, and you ready to step aside and let others take charge, and when you know that they are ready to do what they supposed to do. And I don't go by age, because some folks should retire at 50, and others. Nancy is at 85, and there's some that are that age still in the House of Representatives. Maxine Waters, I think, is 85. Jim Clyburn is around that same age. So I don't think that everybody is finished with their work or don't have the energy at the same age. But I definitely think once you get north of 80, you need to start really checking and see. Because I think a lot of, and we can talk about this. I want you that disagree with me, especially some of our young listeners. No, Maxine is 87. And so she's a little older than Nancy. She's 87, and Jim Clyburn is 85, same age as Nancy. Now, I still see a lot of fire left in Maxine Waters, and she is clear. I think from I've been around her the last year or so, she's as lucid as somebody 20. So I don't think it's an age thing, but I do think people should want to walk out of certain positions before they have given all they can. And that's why they should be mentoring, training, sharing with others, not to mimic them, but to learn from your experiences and pass it on. What I've done is in the last couple of years, I've got a lot of zest and energy left in me with Nan, but I have a plan in a few 3 or 4 more years to move on and build this Civil Rights Museum to its perfection. We're already in the beginning stages. And I intend the last 10, 15 active years of mine from 75-ish on to really shape and mold that museum and let Nan go on to other leadership. But it won't be based on age. It'll be based on ability. And I will not, let me say this publicly. I keep saying it to the staff privately, and I'll say it publicly. I've said it to the board of National Action Network. I will not choose a successor. The board should, because they're the ones going to have to work with her or him, and they're the ones that's going to have to make the organization work beyond its founders. I do not want my organization to die with me. Too many civil rights leaders want the organization to die with them, so it's all about them. No, I want 100 years from now, National Action Network to be there and be functional. I want them to gain from my experience, but I don't want nobody to feel they got to be the next Al Sharpton. No, be the next president of NAN. And I think that the ego and narcissism of too many leaders are that rather than you want to continue the program and continue the thought process and the activism, that they want somebody to clone them so it flatters their ego. I don't want to see somebody act like me. I want somebody that can get in that same school of thought and be active and make it work in their generation and make it work in their environment. They may not even be a New Yorker. So that's my feeling on that. I didn't mean to go off in a whole thing on that, but I guess with Nancy Pelosi, such a person as that, retiring, it puts us all in a mood and a mode of saying, when should anybody retire? Leslie Jennings says Nancy Pelosi is a political chess master. She never made a move without anticipating the reaction. Leader Jeffries is an apt protege. And Leader Jeffries, different personality, different persona, definitely a mentee of Nancy Pelosi and able. Michelle Cook says that agreed, Nancy Pelosi has earned a retirement year. She is still youthful enough to make the most of those years. Congratulations, Mrs. Pelosi. Thank you for your service. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Let's get ready to take a break. I'm coming back. A lot happening in terms of what is going on in the aftermath of the election the other day. Yesterday, in fact. No, day before yesterday, in fact. Also, FFA is set to start cutting flights because of the lockdown, shutdown. Air travel may be challenging throughout the holiday. And we talk about that, and we talk about where the Democrats better go from here. They had a big night Tuesday, but did they win a round or did they win the fight? Let's talk about all of this right after the break. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? Yeah. All right, then, you got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got, tell, Rev. Bird be ready, Daniel, 5th chapter, I want him to read. And, I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what, half hour.
About a half hour.
Tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are. No just stand still. No just stand still. No just stand still. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We never shine, never shade. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled.
They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, this space would be
Keeping it real.
You're live, sir.
Do we have Randy Weingart?
Yes, sir. We put him on the board now.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host,
Keeping it real.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And let me say that one of the real impacts and effects of this shutdown has been what it has done to our schools and, of course, the surrounding community. And clearly the center of the schools are our teachers. And I have worked for the last, I'd say, probably 3 decades with the president of the American Federation of Teachers, comes out of New York, was head of United Federation of Teachers. And we worked down through the years. And, I was watching Morning Joe yesterday when one of the head of ADL was praising me. I remember this person was on my side when she was about by herself. So I trust her, and her leadership has been impactful. One of the leaders of No Kings, which I think helped lead to the victory that we saw in some cities on Election Day. And she also was one of the co-leaders of the March on Wall Street with Martin III and I, and the author of Why Fascists Fear Teachers. I'm talking, of course, about Randy Weingarten. How you doing, Randy? I don't hear Randy.
All the work we've done, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Before I get into what the impact.
Thank you, by the way, for everything that you do.
Well,
I mean, it's really, really important.
Well, thank you. Before I get into the impact on the schools and your teachers on the shutdown, Tell me your analysis of the victories on Tuesday's election in New York, in Virginia, in New Jersey, and the Prop 50 in California.
Right. And I would actually add to that the retention of judges in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, very
And by the
important.
way, we've just heard that every single Moms for Liberty candidate, all the anti-public education candidates for school board lost. I don't know if that's
Wow.
100%, but we've just heard that in the last couple of days. And we're seeing, in school board races across the country, pro-public education school board candidates are winning again. So I think what you're seeing, and the reason I say the Pennsylvania one, I want to include Pennsylvania and what happened in California, and sorry for me being so teachery right now about this, is that two things happened here. One, I think three things. One, a lot of people came out to vote. A lot of people came out to vote in New York City. I think it was the largest turnout since the Lindsay era.
Right.
A lot of people came out to vote in New Jersey and in California and in Virginia. So you can't say that people didn't get up and come out to vote, unlike in 2024 where a lot of people stayed home. So number one, a lot of people came out to vote. Number two, they voted against something and they voted for something. And when I say, all too often, people just, we've been saying, you've been saying it, I've been saying it, that you have to give working people something to vote for, not just to vote against. So they voted against the abuses of the Trump administration. And I think you see that in terms of the election in Pennsylvania, where overwhelmingly they retained the judges who they think will really apply the rule of law. And of course, in California, where Texas is trying to steal an election and California said, wait, let's try to balance the scales here. But what they voted for, with a moderate in Virginia, a liberal in New Jersey, and a democratic socialist, a progressive in New York City, they voted for their families. And to say that the life is not affordable, we need to make sure that costs go down and wages go up, because the American people want to make sure that they can have a better life for themselves and their kids. So they voted for a better life. All three of these candidates fixated on affordability, and they voted against the excesses of the Trump administration. I think that's what we saw all throughout the country, coast to coast, on Tuesday.
Tell us how the shutdown, and it seems like it's going to continue, how that has impacted public education and specifically teachers that you represent.
So the shutdown, you know this as well as I do. Every problem of society or every challenge of society shows up at the schoolhouse door. And what teachers do is they don't complain about it. They figure out how. So, when we couldn't get the Trump administration to actually say, no, they're not going to have ICE raids in schools or in hospitals or in churches, teachers are protecting our kids just like we do when, God forbid, there is a gun shooting in schools. The same thing is now happening with the shutdown. You see these huge increases in premium payments for health care. You see a $1 trillion cut in Medicaid, which means the program that is the Children's Health Program is being cut as well. You see the SNAP program being used as leverage by Donald Trump, first time ever in a shutdown, so that people are hungry. And so what's happened is it really hurts kids in schools, because it hurts kids, it hurts their families. There's a lot more stress, there's a lot more hunger, and teachers are basically, we've done a pass the hat. We're trying to get all throughout the country. Teachers are helping, get food pantries stocked up, trying to help with food insecurity. but it just makes it harder for families, which means it makes it harder for teachers.
What do you want people listening around the country to do at this point? We're in the middle of the shutdown. We showed some electoral strength just 48 hours ago. What is your call to action?
That the people united will never be defeated. I think between no king, sorry to, raise, the little union ditty here, but I think what we've shown as Americans is we've sent a message to the Congress, to the president, that says, work on what people need, not a retaliatory agenda, not another agenda, work on what people need. So we're going to have to keep on showing up in the streets. We're going to have to keep on voting, and we're going to have to keep holding people accountable in terms of what they do.
Randy Weingarten, I say the most prolific labor leader in the country, president of the American Federation of Teachers, author of Why Fascists Fear Teachers. Thank you for being with us, Randy. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after the break.
Thanks,
Keeping
Fred.
it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Thank you so much. I was thinking I was going to prepare a speech, but I can't read those things anymore. Name's Babyface, not Baby Body. But I wanted to, you made me sound so good with those words. I was like, that was me? I was like, when I look at my life and I think of the music and everything that I've done, I used to say that I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the words come from. I don't know where the music comes from. I don't know how I got here where I am, but that's not true. God got me here. This is and it becomes more clear to me every day that's why I'm here. And I don't even know how I ended up standing here, except for the fact that I ran into Al at the Essence. He was walking in the room, and I said, I got to go say hello. And he said, I want to honor you. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, I want to honor you. I said, really? Yep. And here I am standing here, and I can only thank you. I always want to do this, Michael. I love you too. Sorry. But I think of moments like this, I can't help but just think of how proud my mom would be for me standing here. I have to say that just to be standing here and to be invited by Al Sharpton, and I want you guys to really think about this man who invited me here and how he has been fighting the fight for us all of these years. I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think we give him enough love. Sometimes you just get used to people and you think, well, that's just Al. No. He's more than that. I want y'all to give him really love. Come on, let's give him. It's very true. Because I can remember times, I'm 67 years old, I can remember times in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, it's true, I'm 67. And I can remember times in Indianapolis when I was growing up, and there were places before I was 5 years old that I could not go to because I was black. And I remember how civil rights, how that changed everything for me and for my life, and that I'm standing here today because of all of those changes, and I was able to do the kind of music that I do and do everything because those things happened. And so for me to accept an award like this, because I've never gotten an award like this before, and so I really appreciate it, and I'm just so thankful, and I thank my mom for giving me the sense to always be humble with my life and to never think that it's all about me. And so like I said, I didn't prepare a speech. I always just wanted to speak from my heart. And I'm speaking from my heart, and I want to tell you once again, Al Sharpton, you are a blessing to us all, and I thank you for inviting me for this, and thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, Twitter.com, The Rev Al, and of course, go to our message page at live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. And let me go right to the phones. Let me go to my dear friend. Dear friend. I started to go somewhere else, but I see my dear friends on the board. The beloved Miss Eunice from Chicago. Miss Eunice, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Rev. I'm exhaling today because I have an appointment for tomorrow.
All right.
So thank you. You know, the air controllers are working under stress without pay while the elected officials do nothing and they still get paid. And the very thing the Trump administration is accusing others of, they're doing it and more. Now, it is disgusting and maddening to hear Cash Patel talk about wasting air travel for others when it is reported he plane to attend his girlfriend's performance. That is totally ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you have, yes, and you have Trump flying back and forth, wasting money. And when you have so much technology, why not use it? And as I said to you before, they want to make wrong right and right wrong. And I was happy to see the voters turn out Tuesday, and we must build on it and not go and sit down. And we're all doomed if we don't. What if our ancestors had stopped? And look at what Dr. King and others did. They led a march for 381 days so we could ride in dignity. And I would just like to say, God bless Reverend Jackson and his family. And Miss Austin is quite a young, intelligent young lady, and thank you for hooking up with the young folks like Antoine and all. And God bless you, and it's happy to see you on these shows. You do an extraordinary job. You keep it real.
All right, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you calling. You always check in. So if you're not on Friday or not on Monday, you let me know, and I would be very concerned if I don't hear from you. So I appreciate you making me relax for the weekend. If I didn't hear from you tomorrow, because you told me today you have an appointment. Let's go to Leon in Dallas, Texas. Leon.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
And first of all, I want to say congratulations to New York for what they were able to do, and you were instrumental in that because you do what you do, and politics starts off locally, and the snowball, the dominoes that New York starts, if we can keep the momentum going, can help to do something to stop this megalomaniac from perhaps, disabling this country, to put it mildly, with his insane policies of everything he's doing. And when I'm talking about local, I was down at City Hall yesterday battling for funding for that economic complex that I talked to you about.
Uh-huh.
And the issue is, in Dallas, there's a $5.2 billion annual budget. Quite a bit of money. And my concept is in the southern sector, which is a predominantly African-American area. Now, keep in mind that blacks own 2% of the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And 98% of the jobs are produced by small business. But when I advocate for funding, or let me start it like this. When the WNBA team wants funding, they can get $50 million. When a bank wants to be, located in Dallas, they can get millions of dollars. But when a black man who comes with a concept for creating jobs and businesses in the black neighborhood, we can't seem to get that kind of support.
Right.
But we're paying taxes. With 15% of this $5 billion tax base, which is several $100 million.
Well, let me say this to drive your point even further, because you're right on to something very important here, Leon. I did a study, NAN did a study that I asked them to do, and National Action Network came out that I think at the time, this is about 7, 8 years ago, about 3 major cities, whites could get bank loans on an idea. For example, they say the corner of Main Street and 8th, they have 1,000 cars go past there a day, and we think a motel could survive there. Bank would loan them the money to build a motel based on an idea, and you did a whole appraisal and the traffic and all. Blacks would go to the same bank and couldn't get a loan with collateral, not even an idea. They would have collateral. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this whole move on Wall Street and this whole move on going at buying some of the shares and going to shareholders meeting. There's an institutional racism in the private sector and the public sector. Because you're right, when you go to City Hall, you're not begging, we're taxpayers. And they invest some of those pension fund dollars and all in other communities. Why wouldn't they do it in South Dallas?
Well, Al, I support. I appreciate your support. I'm still hoping you'll find it within your schedule to get down here. But I've been trying to do this since 2019. And I was told every story from the building was sold, was still there 6 years later, to who do you have to go along with you. And I had a meeting with one of the directors for economic development. I brought about 20 people in there. And this is Jim Crow 2024. And it seems like other African Americans are somewhat reluctant to speak truth to power.
Yeah.
Because the people that are coming in front of me are talking about these other issues, and they're one behind the other, behind the other, behind the other. When I come to talk about economic development in a black neighborhood that's paying taxes, I'm by myself.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely want to hook up and get with you. I mean, it's been crazy with the elections and all. But I definitely want to get in there. Because, see, I think Dallas is critical as a city to the country. And because of your governor and the whole climate they set, we need a big economic victory right there in Dallas. I mean, it would just be the right place to do it. We just got to work something out. I don't want to say something I can't live up to on date-wise on the air, but I'm definitely going to work something out with you.
I understand.
I think it needs to be done because it is amazing to me how we missed the economic piece. It really is. Thank you for your call. Go ahead. You had something else?
400, 500 jobs, Reverend Al.
Yeah.
At that one place.
Yeah. Thank you for your call. Let's go. Let me read this from Kyle. Is this McGillis? Black man got 23 McDonald's after 40 years. He sued McDonald's saying he wasn't offered good locations for free like all the other areas. He was a manager. Then he got 23 stores. McDonald's did him dirt. Wow. Interesting. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of us don't understand locations. Where, if you're in a mall, where they put your location in a mall, all of that is the difference between a profitable business and a loss. And a lot of that is done in an institutionalized, racist way. So we don't think economic enough. Now, it's understandable because most of us don't come from business backgrounds because our parents, grandparents were not allowed to do business and be self-sustaining. We went from slavery to being workers and underpaid at that. But we've got to get a mentality of economic empowerment and of ownership in our community. And the money is there. I challenge these unions, you that come to National Action Network's conventions, and we've already shifted millions of dollars. Because I've said to these unions, how do you have all of these union members? And in some unions, most of your union members are black. You take their pension funds and invest them with all white pension fund managers who take their pension funds and invest with their friends, developers, business people with a business plan. So we are, in effect, financing our own demise. Because you're taking our pension funds, giving it to pension fund investors that take care of their friends and relatives, and cut us out. Our sons, our daughters can't get a investment. And it's our money. We got to think like that. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. That's what we do. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. Some people report the news. Others interpret it. But there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight, we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate, or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Rev and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them. It's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them. It's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? From New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said, they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So we will keep spitting facts with the humble confidence of Sean Carter on our best day. And you can keep making up your own mind, because we gonna be all right. Thank you. Thank you.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance as they could fight in the 50s. It ACP people put forth together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
But I'm questioning your statement. You can question mine. You can question any statement I make. You can question any statement. Whoa. You can question any statement I make, but you cannot call here and tell me don't question the statement you make, brother.
Brothers gonna work it out.
Be a part of the conversation. Just keep it real. Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, keeping it real. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Live stream at National Action Network. You can go on the message board. Don't forget, and I'm telling you, you do not want to forget, to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time this weekend. I got some heavy hitters coming. I cannot announce them yet, but just set your timer or whatever you use on your television, because I'm going to dig deep, not only analyzing what the elections of Tuesday meant, but what the impact of the shutdown is doing, particularly to black folks, and what we need to do about it. We're going to talk a lot about that this weekend. The snap cuts, what we need to do, to dig deep in, and how we translate the victories of Tuesday to solving the problems that we're facing. A lot of people happy to see 2 black women become mayors in New York State, New York. And I'm real happy to see the Proposition 50 pass in California. I'm happy to see the votes, as Randy Weingarten said, in Pennsylvania and Virginia, New Jersey, and New York. But people still on federal payroll are not getting paid. So we're going to dig deep into why and have some of the people in the Senate and the governors on Politics Nation this weekend. Please watch it. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Live, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC, soon to be MS Now. That changed to 15th, and I'll be right along for the change and be on the same time, same stations. Then you that are in the New York tri-state area, be with me Saturday. That's right, I'll be there. Be with me at the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice of National Action Network in Harlem, 145th and Lenox, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. All right, let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Ozzy in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ozzy?
Yes, sir. Bishop.
Yes, sir.
I want to try to answer the question that you asked about, was Tuesday a win or a victory? Or I believe that's how you put it. But I don't see it as a win. I would like to use a football scenario to try to explain what I mean by that. And for the last year and a half, the Republican Party has been kicking our butts with eliminating jobs, saying it's due to DEI, putting black women out of work, taking away of our freedoms, going into the IRS and taking our personal information from there, elevating billionaires while taking food from our children, our elderly. We've been getting our behinds handed to us. And all I see happened on Tuesday was while the Republicans were in our red zone, prepared to score again, we the people came and stood as the defense for the Democratic Party. And we got a turnover. Now we're getting ready to put the ball back in the hands of our offense, who is the legislator in the Democratic Party. I'm not very happy about that. I think that if we the people stay involved and continue to play on the field and not just accept what the Democratic Party says, we may come out of this with a victory. But I don't trust the Democratic Party to be able to sustain the momentum that we're giving them at this point. And, you know, I've been a critic of Joe Biden. I think that he handed the Republicans the victories they've had, but it's now up to us. And you, last time I spoke to you, you said, what do we do? I think that President Obama said something. When I got home, I saw a message after you asked me that question, and it had to do with Proposition 50 in California, and he was congratulating the people who were putting the work in to get that passed, and it got passed. So the answer to your question, what do? We stay involved, and the Democratic Party has to help us to get involved and stay involved and not consider themselves the oligarchy of the Democratic Party, but we the people are the ones that should rule.
I think, thank you for your call, Ozzy. I agree with everything you said. I do not think it was a Democratic victory. I think the Democrats got the results of the people rising up with a victory. And I think the people have to stay engaged. That's why I keep telling people our Wall Street March should not have been the only major black march this year. And No Kings, they had two of those. But not just marches. They should be engaged in their local communities, in the town halls, into making sure their office holders are held accountable. I agree with you because we cannot let them blow it. Let me tell you something. Fannie Lou Hamer went to the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City in 1964. 20 years later, Jesse Jackson went as a presidential candidate with millions of votes. Fannie Lou Hamer nor Jesse was sponsored by the Democratic Party. They went to the party and pressured the party to make certain changes since Lyndon Johnson was a Democrat in the White House. So our empowerment and our justice does not come from the Democratic Party or Republican Party down. It comes from the people up. Now, the Democratic Party may be the one that seems the more conducive since more of our people are there. But let's not get confused. They're not going to deliver us and never did. We, if anything, delivered them, but we must make sure that we're in part of the package that's delivered. I agree with you there. Let's go to Frank, my Ace Boone Coon on the west side of Chicago. He says it's the best side. Frank?
Yes, sir, Reverend Al Powell. Rev, Lord have mercy. This is one of the phone calls that you hate to have to make, but it's needed. Reverend Al, we have an internal problem with the family here, and I think there's an issue that need to be pointed out and need to be corrected and brought to your attention. Okay, this is dealing with the Keep It Real family. Okay, Rev, I'm gonna put it like this. We can handle someone coming on the air ramping and raving like a lunatic. We can handle someone coming on the air weeping and sobbing, crying, boo-boo like a 70-something-year-old baby. But when they downgrade to the point where you're going to come over the air and start issuing death threats to other callers because of something thought they may have said, this needs to be addressed. I heard everything my good brother Tommy said after I made my last phone call a couple of days ago. And anyone of sound mind, whenever I come to the conclusion, I was saying that we should go out there and arm ourselves and start shooting ICE agents. I'll shoot you by D-cell. Okay, that's crossing the line too far. And I hope Brother Tommy is listening. I love you, my brother. I've always spoke up for you and defended you. I let everyone else know, hey, Tommy just lost his grandson and hit him hard. But, bro, that's been some while ago. Death is a part of life. Okay, some people die every day, righteously, unrighteously. Get over it, Big, but I'm talking to you man to man. Get over it, Tommy, and come back to us and take the death threats out of your profile, Tommy, because you're going too far. I think it need to be. I heard this say this several other times on several other shows. I will shoot you my D cell. Tommy, stop threatening people with death threats. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. I agree. We cannot engage death threat. Not only is it immoral and unethical, first of all, we should not be thinking that way. Second of all, you risk the radio license of the few black stations we got left that air the programs, because they be on there. They ain't going after you. They're going after these stations saying, they promoting death to people. And that's not what any other hosts are doing. And I mean, so why would you even risk that? And they have cut down on the amount of airwaves we got, and you want to risk that on some stuff you ain't gonna do anyway, and you shouldn't do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should. But you just talking. And you're risking a lot. I think that's right. I appreciate your call. Thank you, Frank.
Okay.
Let me stay in Chicago. Let me go to Andre J. Andre J., you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Reverend Alfred.
We should have took a break, sir.
Wait a minute. Just a minute. Let me take the break. I'm going overtime. I'll come right back to you after the break. Keeping it real.
Okay, thank you.
Sharpton. Be right back.
No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We never shine, never shake. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water.
Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were with Gold. Yeah, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Shaw. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
I just the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I drew Jesse away from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came to me in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, "The two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born." I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist.
I was not defined by how.
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and we're joined, as we are every Thursday for the last 90 minutes of the show, by the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies of New York and the vice chairman of the National Board of National Action Network, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing, Jenny?
I'm doing well, sir. Good to be with you and good to be with everybody who's with us today.
And I understand you had to do a panel in San Juan, Puerto Rico this morning. You still in Puerto Rico?
I'm still in Puerto Rico. I haven't gotten out and gotten any sun just yet, but I'm here at a conference. It's an annual conference of the New York legislators and business community, nonprofits. It's about a 3 or 4 day conference where they come and engage, and talk about the issues that concern New York and the Puerto Rican territory. So I'm here just for a day, heading out later today, but got to be a
it's
part
called
of the conference.
Somos. Yeah, it's called Somos.
I don't know if Somos. I don't know Spanish too well, so I don't know if Somos stands for anything in particular.
Yeah, it stands for something. I did 93 months in jail once leading a protest in Puerto Rico, so I only go to Puerto Rico when I must. I have a little thing about it. If you're there, you can go out to Vegas and have a little plaque of me and the other 3 who went to jail. But I want to get your...
They won't keep me, though. Will they keep me?
I don't know. That's why I don't go down there. I did that one time. We won the battle. We got the Navy base closed, but I had to do 3 months in jail, federal jail for it. That's the longest time I did, but I don't regret any times I go to jail. I want your analysis of the election, and I had Randy Weingarten on, but let me go to Andre J. I told him to hold on over the break. Andre J., you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Jones Austin. Is Andre J. there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Okay, I couldn't hear you, Reverend.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Reverend. Hello, Miss Jennifer Jones Austin. I want to thank you, Miss Jennifer Jones Austin, for always coming and spending some time with us and for always coming to Politics Nation. I listen to you on Politics Nation, and I listen to you as well on the radio. So thank you. I've heard you. You've been in the airport. You've been many places. You've been many places, but you always find time to come spend with us, and I appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Ma'am. So, yes, ma'am. So I don't have no legal question today, but what I call for, Rev, first of all, I second Brother Frank's feelings. I second his emotion because it has gotten out of hand. And if you notice, Rev, Miss Eunice don't talk like that. Frank don't talk like that. Pam don't talk like I don't talk like that. We all from Chicago. That individual he mentioned is the only one that goes on a tirade like that. So I do think that's getting out of hand. But what I call you for is about the election that we had the other day. You know, Rev, black people have been through a whole lot of stuff, and particularly, especially since Donald Trump has been in office here. So I say this here. Some people took issue and said that the people were celebrating. Well, I take issue with part of it myself because Barack Obama, he was over there making that speech in Virginia, I think it was, and the people went to boo, and he said, don't boo, vote. Well, I don't think he should have repressed their feelings or suppressed their feelings. He just said, when you get through booing, go vote. But to take that right to exhale from the people with all of the stuff that Trump went through, people were jubilant. They were happy that they won, the Democrats won the other day. So I'm pretty sure that those people that won the campaign had an after party. They went and celebrated. They didn't rest on their laws. I mean, they won the election, but they made their speeches and then they went to their private headquarters or whatever, and they had an after party when them Democrats won. So I don't see nothing wrong with people expressing their feelings when we have a win because we've been through so much.
Yeah,
And it's fair
I'm
to-
confused. Who said people shouldn't express their feelings?
Well, in so many words, when Obama say "Don't boo, vote."
No,
what I'm
that's
talking
not.
about. He said-
No. I totally disagree with you.
No.
They were boo.
Well,
They were
well,
whatever they were yelling. Obama was reacting to the moment, saying, "Don't boo or don't whatever vote," saying we got to do more than that. I would say that anybody public speaking would say that. He wasn't saying you shouldn't have emotions, but he's saying
He
in
didn't say
a
it's-
wait a minute. If you're gonna let me make my point, I'll let you make yours. That I promise you. He was not dispelling their emotions. He was saying your emotions alone will not make the difference. You got to vote, because this was before an election. Otherwise, he wouldn't have saved the vote. So no, I totally disagree with your interpretation of that, Andre.
Well, this is what he was saying, Reverend. He was talking about all of the bad things that Donald Trump done,
Right.
and that's what the people were booing at. So when he said that Donald Trump was, just pointing all the negative things Donald Trump did, then the people in the audience down there visiting said,
And
boo,
he was
and he
saying,
said,
don't
and
boo,
he said,
vote.
No,
The booing Donald Trump ain't going to stop him from doing that. Vote. That's what he was saying.
right. Well, if it was me, I would have just let the people say boo, and I said, when you get through booing out there, go vote afterwards. That's what I said.
That's
Make
what
sure
he
y'all
said.
always
That's
vote.
what he said. I think you playing semantics. That's basically what he said.
No, in so many words, but I'm listening to, I watched it and I paid attention word for word. All I heard him say was "don't vote," and then he went on to continue making his speech. But I'm just saying, when we get jubilant and happy about our successes, I don't think nobody should put that down and say we shouldn't glow to celebrate. I think you got a right
Andre,
to celebrate.
Andre.
Yes, sir, Rev.
They were not celebrating. They were booing before the election. So they were not celebrating. You just said it yourself. They were booing about what Trump had done, and Obama said, "Don't boo, vote." So they couldn't have been celebrating a vote that hadn't happened yet.
No, I never said they were celebrating a vote, Reverend.
You
What
just
I
said that. They were celebrating because they won, you said. Okay, thank you for your call. Let me go to Lisa in California. Lisa, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Lisa?
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm terrible because we have a beast in control. And I've been trying to get through to you, Al Reverend, because I have no hope here where I live. That guy is doing everything illegal. Now, why is he above the law? Why?
Because we allow it. Because we allow it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not allowing it, Reverend, and what am I going to do when I'm here in my house broken from a fall? I am depending on my retirement, which is getting me through right now, and the fact that, well, let me just be blunt. I kicked out the husband because he died already. He wanted to buy a coffin, and I wanted to goddamn pay my house off, so he went to senior living, and I redid my loan, and I'm living the dreams in Fortuna, California, and I'm proud of it. I'm tired of dumb men being in control. And Trump should have never gotten in. He got in illegally. He needs to be taken out and put into a jail cell like every other criminal. Can I please be the one?
Well, I tell you, I thank you for your call. I don't know if you could be the one, but I certainly say I do not know anyone convicted of 34 felonies that would go in the White House rather than face an appropriate sentence. But thank you for your call, and I hope you feel better with your fall. Let me go to Dr. Andrew in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wait a minute, Dr. Andrew. I hear the music, so I'm going to have to take my break. I'll come right back to you. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
Teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, that don't be a dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, you know, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying, you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid, you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did, to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream, and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one
man should have, the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in. But let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top, and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flames.
Reverend Al Sharpton, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin with us live from Puerto Rico. Attorney, before I go to Dr. Andrew, Attorney Jones Austin, give me your overall assessment of the outcomes on Tuesday. Randy Weingarten was on. I'd be very interested in how you assessed what appears to be a sweeping night where the Democratic candidates won and policy won in California. What does that mean? What does it not mean?
Oh, I think in short that, we've seen over the course of the last several months, since Donald Trump has taken office, that he hasn't made good on a lot of promises that he made to people. And those who fell for him and fell for his promises when he was running for office are now appreciating that. He said he was going to strengthen the economy, and by economy, I mean local economies, the economies in people's pockets. He said he was going to make things more affordable. He was going to bring down the cost of groceries. And I think what a lot of people have seen is that he's just got nothing but shenanigans that are designed to give him more and more power, to give people, people of the communities, and I mean by communities, I mean all communities, less power, and that, what he's doing is not really in the collective best interest. And so I think what we saw was really more of a clapback, a rise up. I think that we saw, people saying, we've got affordability issues in New York. We've got affordability issues in New Jersey. We've got affordability issues in Virginia. I think people said, we got affordability issues, and you're, essentially allowing the government to be shut down because, you want to take away people's health care. You want to take away people's SNAP benefits. You want to reduce them. You want to cut Medicaid. You want to cut not renew the Affordable Care subsidies. This isn't working for us, and you've got no real solutions for us. That on top of, they just don't like his shenanigans. I think we saw in some places where they're like, enough is enough on you talking about bringing in the National Guard when it doesn't help us. So I think overall, it was the government shutdown, but it was not just the government shutdown. It was this man promised us he was going to make our lives better, and our lives aren't better. People who are losing people due to deportation and ICE raids, they're not better off. You got a lot of people who had child care providers who they've now lost. You've got a lot of people who actually themselves have lost child care, Head Start, and the like. And so I really think it's an overall pushing back on this man who promised them a better way of living, and they're not getting it, and they're joining with the people who knew all along it wouldn't be a better way of living. And the other thing that that I've shared with you is, I think it was a complete rebuke in many ways, almost maybe a sleeper of his anti-DEI policies, because where people won, they won in New York. You've got the first Muslim to be, New York City mayor, right? And some people see Muslims as, people of color in some respects. They're not, traditional Christians. That is not consistent with the white male supremacist model. Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill, these are women. That goes against his anti-DEI, policies. When you look at Sheffield out in Detroit, so on and on. I mean, the California 50 proposition, that's about ensuring that you have Democrat voice and you have people who are of color having their voices be heard through their vote. And so I think it really is a clapback. Yes, the shutdown doesn't help them, but it's more than the shutdown. It's not just that people aren't happy with the shutdown. They're just not happy with Trump and the Senate, the Republican-controlled Senate, and Republicans and what they're doing. They're not happy.
Let's go to Dr. Andrew in Milwaukee. Dr. Andrew.
Dr. Jennifer Austin, JD.
No, sir.
You're not a JD?
Mm-mm. I am a JD. I didn't realize I thought you were giving me a nickname. Yes, I am.
No, JD, Juris Doctor.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I don't know why they
Anyway,
all call us doctors, but yes. Thank you, sir.
I think doctor is a very high-ranking position, and that's why I call Dr. Sharpton Dr. Sharpton. Anyway, when I was talking about the Electoral College yesterday, I forgot to mention how the tail is wagging the dog when it comes to Senate. We have some states with 200,000 or 300,000 people in them, and they got 2 senators. And then we have California and New York and maybe some other ones that have 1 million people, and they have 2 senators. And the senators from the small states is running the thing. Another issue I have is D.C. and the territories. Do they have representation? D.C. does not have senators, right?
No, they do not have voting senators. They cannot vote. They have shadow senators, they call it, and shadow congressperson, but they cannot vote on the floor for any legislation, which means they really don't have it. No, not they can vote. No,
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's poor representation. The other thing I want to bring up was reparations.
Okay.
It's been discussed too many times, and they seem to be confused as how to do it. And I'm gonna tell you, as a Vietnam veteran, foot soldier, college graduate, drafted, the soldiers, the black soldiers who came out of these wars and were not awarded their GI Bill rights, they know who they are, and their whole families should get free tuition and a free house. And y'all have a good one.
All right, thank you for your call. Let's go to Tommy in Chicago. Tommy.
Rev, first of all, and Miss Austin, thank God you qualified that where you were at, because I have told all the Geritol brothers, man, we got to go get Miss Austin. They come calling my phone talking about Rev said he ain't going down there. He just did 1.5 years or something.
No, I did 90 days. I didn't do 1.5 years.
That's just my way of saying, Miss Austin, I love you. And to the listening audience,
thank you, sir.
What that brother just said at the end, every veteran, I don't care what color they are, should not be on the streets. Now, that part is absolutely quantitatively true. But there's something else that's true, Reverend Sharpton. I hear music in the street because the citizens of New York had enough sense to say, wait a minute, let's sit down at the table and let's just take a look at this. Now, on one side, we have something that we don't know. I don't know it. Most of the people up there knew it. Somebody must have knew it, because I don't see how the young man got where he was. It couldn't have just been the colored peoples or Negroes or confused Afro-Americans or whatever you want to call us at this point, because I say confused. Because my point is simple as this. They looked at it and they said, wait a minute, we got a chance to keep talking about getting things straightened out, or we can vote for lawlessness. Now, Rev, I hear music in the street, and it is an example to every individual on the face of this planet, and especially to us, since we're brand new as to what's going on. Because, you know, the three of us, I've talked to you the whole time when they told you to sit down, Rev. There was no more need for no Reverend Al Sharpton. And every time you turn around, what did Chris Rock say? Do you know Al Sharpton? And that's not blowing no smoke. That's the reality of where we at. Someone who's a true fighter, someone at a particular time as this, is not what Tommy thinks. It's what Reverend Sharpton knows, because he's there at the table, able to broadcast not only to this country and the world, but also to the people who he cares enough about to let them have a comment on his show with contributors like Joan Austin. I'm sorry, Miss Austin, but Miss Austin and the rest of us. Now, this is the moment for encouragement. This is the moment that you should be singing a song that Obama is the greatest thing that ever happened to a Negro, whatever you want to call yourself, because that was the moment that you could no longer hide behind the lie. And your so-called reparations has always been, what are you doing for yourself? Because everything in America since I have been born in this country has been, if you do something for yourself, it may be hard, it may be difficult, but you don't have to look over your back. And when you get there, you can say one thing, either I believed in heaven or I believed in dollars and cents. And America is about dollars and cents. Now run and tell that.
All
Reverend
right.
Reality saying goodbye. It's offering time.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for your call. Jennifer, the plight of this shutdown, let me go back to that. You're the policy wonk of this show. I don't think that people other than those that are federal workers or related to them or close to them understand the human toll. You are literally now going 3 weeks without any pay. Most people, disproportionately in our community, live paycheck to paycheck, which means that you literally have some federal employees going to food banks because they can't buy groceries and other remedies to try and get through this seemingly unending type of crisis. Explain the human toll, what this means, but explain it by putting it on top of the socioeconomic disparity in the first place, because they already started unequal, and now this has driven it even further.
So let's begin with the fact that people who receive it, we start with one of the most talked about impacts, the loss of SNAP benefits. SNAP benefits for an individual monthly are about $100, $190. For a family, it's about $350, and for a family with children, with 2 to 3 children, it can be up to $550. Every time you add another person to the family, it adds another $100 plus or so. So now keep in mind that in order to receive food supports, and this is the easiest one to deal with where you can see the impact, in order to receive food supports, you can't have a significant amount of money in the bank. You essentially have to be broke before you can get food stamps, food support, SNAP. And so it's not like people can say, "Oh, I'm not getting my SNAP."
Wait 1 minute. I want y'all to I want you to lay this out. Let's take the break. We'll be right back. Keep it real. Sharpton, Jones, Austin. Be right back.
Democratic presidential candidate, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Tonight, I want to address my remarks in two parts. One, I'm honored to address the delegates here. Last Friday, I had the experience in Detroit of hearing President George Bush make a speech. And in the speech, he asked certain questions. I hope he's watching tonight. I would like to answer your questions, Mr. President. To our chairman, our delegates, and all that are assembled, we're honored and glad to be here tonight. I'm glad to be joined by supporters and friends from around the country. I'm glad to be joined by my family, Kathy, Dominique, who will be 18, and Ashley. We are here 282 years after, right here in Boston, we fought to establish the freedoms of America. The first person to die in the Revolutionary War is buried not far from here, a black man from Barbados named Crispus Attucks. 40 years ago, in 1964, Fannie Lou Hamer and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party stood at the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City fighting to preserve voting rights for all Americans and all Democrats regardless of race or gender. Hamer's stand inspired Dr. King's March in Selma, which brought about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. 20 years ago, Reverend Jesse Jackson stood at the Democratic National Convention in San Francisco, again appealing to preserve those freedoms. Tonight, we stand with those freedoms at risk and our security as citizens in question. I have come here tonight to say the only choice we have to preserve our freedom at this point in history is to elect John Kerry, the President of the United States. I stood with both John Kerry and John Edwards over 30 occasions in debates during the primary season. I narrated them, I watched them, I observed their deeds, I looked into their eyes. I am convinced that they are men who say what they mean and mean what they say. I am also convinced that at a time when a vicious spirit in the body politic of this country that attempts to undermine America's freedoms, our civil rights, our civil liberties, we must leave this city and go forth and organize this nation for victory for our party and John Kerry and John Edwards in November. But let me quickly say, this is not just about winning an election. It's about preserving the principles on which this very nation was founded. Look at the current view of our nation worldwide as a result of our unilateral foreign policy. We went from unprecedented international support and solidarity on September 12, 2001, to hostility and hatred as we stand here tonight. We can't survive in the world by ourselves. How did we squander this opportunity to unite the world for democracy and to commit to the global fight against hunger and disease? We did it with a go-it-alone foreign policy based on flawed intelligence. We were told that we were going to Iraq because there were weapons of mass destruction. We lost hundreds of soldiers. We spent $200 billion at a time we had record state deficits. And when it became clear that there were no weapons, they changed the premise for the war and said, no, we went because of other reasons. If I told you tonight to let's leave the fleet center, we're in danger. And when you get outside, you ask me, Reverend Al, what is the danger? And I say, it don't matter, we just needed some fresh air. I have misled you, and we were misled. We are also faced with the prospect of, in the next 4 years, that 2 or more Supreme Court justices' seats will become available. This year, we celebrated the anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education. This court has voted 5-4 on critical issues of women's rights and civil rights. It is frightening to think that the gains of civil and women's rights and those movements in the last century could be reversed if this administration is in the White House in these next 4 years. I suggest to you tonight that if George Bush had selected the court in '54, Clarence Thomas would have never got to law school. This is not about a party. This is about living up to the promise of America. The promise of America says we will guarantee quality education for all children and not spend more money on metal detectors than computers in our schools. The promise of America guarantees health care for all of its citizens and doesn't force seniors to travel to Canada to buy prescription drugs they can't afford here at home. The promise of America provides that those who work in our healthcare system can afford to be hospitalized in the very beds they clean up every day. The promise of America is that government does not seek to regulate your behavior in the bedroom, but to guarantee your right to provide food in the kitchen. The issue of government is not to determine who may sleep together in the bedroom. It's to help those that might not be eating in the kitchen. The promise of America is that you stand in front of a grand jury. No justice.
And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we are back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And Jennifer Jones Austin Esquire is my co-host. Let me go to Wale in Manhattan, Jenny.
How you doing, Reverend Al?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. Reverend, let me ask you a question. Okay, I saw Trump because I'm taking it slow. I'm not really grasping everything, but I'm trying with this whole shutdown and everything. So Trump says if the Democrats would just agree, the shutdown will be solved. The little bit that I know about it, they're saying that what is it, Medicare? They don't want to rule on Medicare because the premiums and so forth will be more expensive. Okay. Now, I remember going to City Hall when they had Even Bright or one of those insurances where working people, the insurance was going up crazy high. All of those people who, the retirees, seniors, I think it's called, not Even Bright, that's not the name of it. I forget what the name of it is, but the premiums and all that stuff was going to be higher. So they were at City Hall, the people was at City Hall fighting against it to keep the premiums and the stuff low. So my question is, when Trump say that the Democrats are not going along, they're not coming into agreement, that's why the shutdown is taking place. I'm explaining it the best way I know how. Can you explain? Is that true? Is that true that the Democrats is not sitting at the table with the so-called Republicans and coming to some kind of
Is it when you say is it true the Democrats not sitting with the Republicans in terms of the shutdown?
Right. In terms of the shutdown, Trump said on a commercial that the shutdown is where it's at because the Democrats won't agree with the changes and so forth to Medicare. And so
no, what's true is that they are not at the table because the Republicans, say they will not meet until the government is open, till they bring the federal government back open. And the open, just a minute, I'm trying to answer your question. And the Democrats say that they will not change the premiums and all and allow the expiration of Obamacare in order to open the government. The Republicans say we'll meet, but you got to open the government, and opening the government means you got to agree that we increase the premiums on the Affordable Care Act and on those that are on health care. And the Democrats said, no, that's what we need to meet about. We need to deal with saving Obamacare at the rate people can afford it. We're not going to agree to you allowing the premiums to go up and hold us hostage with that in order to open the government. That's what's happening.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. And see, I think that's a good policy question, Paula Wiley asked, because I think a lot of listeners, Jenny, don't understand that it is not about the Democrats, in this case, blocking the opening. What they're saying is the basis of you saying you want it open is for us to change the policy on Obamacare. That's really what they're saying.
Yeah. Essentially what they're saying is the Republicans are like, you want us to shoot you in the head or you want us to shoot you in the heart? You know, either way you're going to get hurt. You might die. So what the Republicans are trying to do is say, you know what? The Democrats are holding out because we are saying that we're not going to continue the health care subsidies that were provided to you under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, provided to you extended for people who were at levels of income that were above poverty rates, but it was found that they needed them. So what Biden did was he actually enhanced it and gave it to people who were at what they call 130% of poverty, rather than just at poverty. And now these healthcare subsidies are about to expire. You lose your healthcare, you can't function. You can't exist. Without your health, you're no good. You can't even work. They want you to get out there and work, but you can't work if you're not healthy. And so what Trump and his cronies are trying to say is, you'll get your snap back, but you got to come back to the table. But in order for them to come back to the table, they want them to give up, the Democrats give up pushing to make sure we have our health care. That's what it's all about.
That's right. That's exactly right. Now, the question of the redistricting and the big win in California that the voters in California said they can vote on having a new district map. This and this is something I think people are confused about. Every state has different ways that they can do that. Some states, the state legislature can do it. Some states, you have to get a referendum voted by the voters, which is what California just did. So it's not like every state has a uniform way of doing what California did.
That's exactly right. And very often it's determined by the state's constitution. And so in Texas, the Senate had the right to be able to do it, and representatives in the state Senate were put on the line for making the decision. The state legislature, I should say, whether they were supportive or not, in terms of establishing new congressional districts, redistricting. And the state was controlled by the Texan Republicans, and so they wanted to do it on their own. In California, it had to be put before the electorate, the actual voting citizens registered to vote there. And they came out in significant numbers and said, we want the redistricting, knowing full well that what that meant is that we're trying to get more Democrats into the Congress. So, that was a big blow for Trump, because what it said was, oh, no. We don't want you to be playing games, in other states and trying to build up your Republican seats, congressional seats, and we don't have a way of challenging you on that. So Newsom took a big step there with the electorate, and now he's got 5 seats. He's actually being challenged now. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah.
Today lawsuits were filed trying to challenge him from doing that, saying that he's essentially claiming that he wants to make sure that there's Latino representation, and the pushback by the Republicans is, we got Latino, this state has a lot of Latinos, a Latinx community, so what are you talking about? But I think he's going to prevail, because the people have now said they want it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the vote showed that. But I also think what is very interesting here is Trump, in his narcissism, went back to saying that, well, people don't come out the same when Trump's not on the ballot. Well, that's almost a concession that people really don't support your ideology or your politics. They're supporting a character, a personality. It's a cult. And, whether he believes it or not, I believe this is the last time you're going to see him on the ballot. I do not believe, no matter what Bannon says, anybody else says, they're going to be able to trick even the right-leaning Congress to give him a third term, or the Supreme Court to change the Constitution. I don't believe that. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think so. And Rev, if we just take a look at New York, he tries to put his name on the ballot in indirect ways, right? So he tried to get behind Andrew Cuomo and get people riled up to come out to go against Mamdani and support Cuomo. And what did we see happen? Yeah, the numbers were the highest in New York City in terms of voter turnout than we've seen since the 60s.
They wasn't that high for Andrew Cuomo.
There you go. So he was indirectly on the ballot, and he didn't win.
Not only didn't he win, he got beat badly. I mean, Andrew Cuomo, to be the former governor of the state, to get beat almost double digits. It was 9 points behind Mamdani. Yeah. And what Trump coming out there the day before and tweeting or whatever you put on social media, vote for Andrew, and attacking the Republican candidate, Curtis Sliwa. Didn't show a whole lot of muscle in his home state. But Happiness Donuts put it better. She said he's a lame duck. We proved that yesterday. Lame duck third term. Rufus says, as sure as ye is living, he will run for a third term. He has no choice. Well, he's going to run. He's going to run right to Mar-a-Lago. He won't be on the ballot, Rufus. Stephanie Humphrey Channel says, peace and blessings, everyone. I'm glad to catch the last live hour. And Evangelist Ramsey had checked in. I guess she was down in my message bag, but I can't pull her up right now. But I think also what we saw with the numbers that came out. New York, it was the largest turnout of voters since 1969. I think that shows people are engaged, because this wasn't even a midterm election, less known a presidential election. This was an off year, and it broke all voting records.
An off year, and it was unusual, right? I mean, we broke records for an unconventional candidate. Yes, this is a candidate who was out here talking about making things more affordable for everybody, talking about how we needed to push back on Wall Street and make sure that millionaires pay their fair share, talking about how we need to ensure that people can get to and fro free if they have to, because they don't have the resources to pay for themselves. This was a Muslim. We've never had a Muslim, win the mayoralty of the largest city in the country and one of the most powerful cities in the world. This was somebody pushing back on politics, establishment politics as we've known them. And people came out in significant numbers and said, it's about time for something different.
Yeah, Rufus says that Trump is running in 2028. No, I'm sorry. He says that either Donald Trump runs for a third term or he goes to prison for the rest of his life. Now, you figure it out. Maybe right there, Rufus. And Stephanie, okay, Ladybug, that's what I want. Ladybug 77. We get so many messages, they stop before I can get the one that screen moves. Ladybug 77 says Trump is running for 2028, running straight to the prison gate. Well, I don't know about that. I think that all of us generally agree. We ain't worried about the third. Now, that does not mean he's not going to guide that party and try to put Rubio or Vance or one of his sons in there to run. Now, this does not mean it's over. It just means it changes the character playing the role. Let's take a break. We'll be right back, keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones Austin, be right back. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up.
I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others. The way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level
where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee, sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars, focus on the journey. Michael beat him. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to say to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers, we thank you for giving us someone that taught us love.
Keeping it real.
Someone
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al. Twitter.com, The Rev Al. Or you can go to the message board at our www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Jenny Jones Austin, the whole legal fight around retribution. We see that Trump has gone after his perceived enemies, including James Comey and Tish James and others, just outright prosecuting. And I think it was Comey's attorneys that had a hearing 2 days ago in court in which the judge frankly showed at best the unpreparedness of the federal prosecutor, who was put in there, by the way, after the former prosecutor in that same district refused to go after Tish James. Does it seem like the criminal justice system may end up in its own state of holding up what they consider the law above even their politics, may be a tremendous defeat to Trump? You have this federal judge all but attacking the Trump-appointed prosecutor, and you have even some of the right-wing members of the Supreme Court questioning the opening statements that was made during oral hearings about whether the president can go around Congress and deal with tariffs. Is it that he's pushing this envelope too far?
Oh, he's definitely pushing it too far. In the case that you referenced, the hearing that you referenced, what happened there was the DOJ, which Trump, these are the people's lawyers, if you will, the United States of America. It's our law department, if you will, the Department of Justice. But Trump treats it like it's his. So they go in there, they've got this hearing, and the judge has to turn them and say, you haven't, you put the cart before the horse. You haven't even given the defense. You haven't given James Comey and his people the evidence that you're saying that he actually broke the law. And so the judge ordered them to come back by the end of the day and produce the evidence that, essentially substantiates the claims that they've made against him. So it is never a good thing. Never a good thing, especially as prosecutors, to go after an individual, trying to find them liable on some charges, and you don't even have the evidence to substantiate it, and you haven't turned it over to the defense. So essentially, they were reprimanded by the judge, and the judge, if they don't come back by the end of the day with anything to substantiate and turn over the materials to the defense, this could be thrown out for that alone.
Wow.
It's a hot mess.
All right, let's go back to the
But they're a hot
phone.
mess.
Let's go back to the phones. It's Policy Day. Let's go to Todd in Cleveland, Ohio. Todd.
Hey, Reverend Al Sharpton, Jennifer Jones, Austin.
Yes, sir.
There's a question behind this, but I want to make sure this is out there, and I hope other people do this too. What I'm about to tell you. I've gone to 2 local grocery stores twice. I usually go to the grocery store once a week. I've gone to 2 local grocery stores twice over the last 2 weeks each week to see how many people are working the registers. And I noticed that particularly as the month turned to November, there's two less people on the register where there's usually three extra ones. And somebody usually sitting around waiting to go on the register. And those people have conditional employment. Even when they're full time, it's still conditional employment because it depends on the flow of customers coming through that register. And this is causing a negative compromise to them. It's also causing a negative compromise to the produce department and the dairy department because those things can only stay on the shelf but so long, and then they have to get thrown out if they're not used. I happen to know a cashier here in Cleveland she may be the head cashier, but her and her sister and her brother-in-law, her sister's husband, have purchased a $300,000 house that they're sharing the payments on, and they're also raising a niece and a nephew in addition to the other 3 kids that they each have. And she needs those food stamps. So she's working. She's not a drug head. She's not a drunk. She doesn't have any psychiatric problems. She's just the working class poor. And I don't want my money back for this next statement. I do not. But I've been pitching in with 5 other people for a friend down in North Carolina who's on food stamps too. And I pretty much told them, it's like, this is about to happen, so just send the money now because they're not going to get their benefits when November rolls around and then show up. Now, the government's not going to pay me back. I don't want my money back anyway. But the government's not going to pay me back for sending money to somebody who went through all the necessary processes to get qualified for those stamps and those kids, which is what the stamps are really for, them, and the money's just gone. And it's gone from me, but it's being held in the coffers of the federal government where they already got the money to be allocated out for that purpose. This is I repeat the same thing I said last week. This is a dereliction of duty by the Congress. This is a total dereliction of duty. Now here's the question, separate behind, and I think other people should be checking those registers too.
But wait.
That's why I brought it up.
Before you say anything, let me just say that you raise a very important point that people aren't appreciating. It's estimated that $1 of SNAP generates about in New York they're putting it at about $1.54. In other places they're putting it at about $1.80 of economic activity. And what that means, to your point out, is that when a person goes to the grocery to buy their meats, their vegetables, their fruits, their dairy products with the SNAP dollar, that then is employing somebody who's on the receiving end to, essentially like process it at the cashier. So that's now giving them money and resources that now get put back into the community. To your point, the people who are manufacturing those products, the black and brown people largely who are engaged in what they call logistics, the people who transport products to the community, all of these jobs then get affected, and that then diminishes the value of those, or I should say, it lessens those dollars turning over in the community. And so everybody gets impacted by it. It's a great point you're making.
On the website of the United States Department of Agriculture, it says that last year they allocated $99+ billion in food aid through the SNAP program. That's just food. I mean, money for food. And almost all that money, almost all of it went into the grocery stores. But I repeat, you can't hold produce on the shelf for a long time. Now people will come in there and steal it if they get too pressed. that's happening now. But this year, people need to just go into these grocery. We need some general managers to come on air for these grocery stores and start talking about how it's affecting the bottom line here. But this brings me.
You need Donald Trump's cronies in the grocery business to start complaining to him.
No, they aren't his cronies. Those people that run those grocery stores are not his cronies at all. In fact,
I'm talking about a lot of the guys who run these big chains. He's got some friends up in New York who run a lot of these stores.
Gristedes is one that's owned by a major billionaire who owns some right-wing radio as well. He's a big Trump supporter, Castamedes. And, he's a decent enough guy, but he's a right-winger. He's a MAGA guy. And I think he tried to put up money or job offer to Curtis Lewa to drop out the race, and Andrew Cuomo have the Republican line and the other line. But both lines put together didn't come near what Mandani got, so it wouldn't have mattered.
My friend in North Carolina that I've been sending money to for the last few years is very close to getting off of food stamps. This problem right here, this 1 month problem right here could set them back probably 6 months easy. If they didn't have some backup, and it had to be backup that wasn't a loan, like the people that I got 2 friends that are air traffic controllers. I don't use the word friend loosely. They've been air traffic controllers for decades, and one of them is a 3rd generation air traffic controller. They have friends too, but they're gonna have to take out a loan for problems that they didn't cause because they ain't gonna get their next paycheck either. Just put that out there.
Wait, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Todd. I'm gonna hold you over the break. Let's take this break. We'll be right back. Sharpton, Jennifer Jones Austin. Be right back. Get that guy.
Please receive one of the greatest voices for the urban community. One, amen. Not them yet. This is one of the greatest voices, not many of the greatest voices. We're going to adjust the program quickly at this time. This man has spoken out. He stood on the front line. He has been a man for the people, of the people. Please receive Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Bishop. To the Franklin family and to all of us gathered, Aretha Franklin was not only an unparalleled artist, she was a civil rights activist and freedom fighter. It is easy to celebrate the gifts that God gives. It is more difficult when someone uses those gifts in ways that enhances humanity. Aretha Franklin was given special gifts, but she used it in a special way. And she would not want us to celebrate her without talking about she stood for something. She never shamed us. She never disgraced us. She never made us make excuses for her. She represented the best in our community, and she fought for our community until the end. I first met Miss Franklin when I was a teenager. I'd become youth director of New York Operation Breadbasket, and she would come to the strategy meetings with Reverend Jackson. And I would hear the stories of how when Dr. Martin Luther King couldn't make payroll, Harry Belafonte and Aretha Franklin went on an 11-city tour to raise money for Martin Luther King. A lot of artists hang up Dr. King's photo, but Aretha went and raised money and gave it and worked free. Her daddy marched with Dr. King, and she never stopped supporting. As the years went by and I developed National Action Network, and she would call my radio show and have me come to her affairs. She called me one day
She said, Rev Mal, I want to send you something. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, what's your home address? And she sent it. About 3 days later, I got a check made out National Action Network signed by Aretha Franklin. I saw about a month later, I said, you know, I was so blown away. I grew up looking up to you that I framed that check. She said, boy, don't you have a copy machine? She said, you don't know how I am with my bank accounts. You better cash that check and... But all of her life, she supported the causes. She was a feminist before feminism was popular. She was a civil rights activist when it wasn't popular. She gave us pride, and she gave us a regal bar to reach. And that's why we're all here. We don't all agree on everything, but we agree on Aretha. And she fought for everybody. I remember when we were used to picket, Charles Williams and all of us jumping on the record industry, she said, now y'all leave Clive Davis alone. He's one of the good ones. She loved Clive and said, we got to remember what happened to the Irish and what happened to Jews and what happened to blacks. And that is why we remember her legacy, because she sang a song for all of us. She was the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. If you track where we are, you can follow where Aretha had us. That's why when I look at her and James Brown, whose daughter's here, and others, who paid a price, that opened the door, but never forgot where they came from. She was rooted in the black church. She was bathed in the black church, and she took the black church downtown and made folks that didn't know what the Holy Ghost was shout in the middle of a concert. You never saw her perform without her doing gospel, because she never was one to forget where she came from. And that's why we give her this great homegoing. We thank her for what she did with Dr. King. We thank her for what she's done with Reverend Jackson. We thank her for what she's done with all of us. And that is why, you know, the other Sunday on my show, I misspelled respect. And a lot of y'all corrected me. Now I want y'all to help me correct President Trump to teach him what it means. And I say that because when word had went out that Miss Franklin passed, Trump said she used to work for me. No, she used to perform for you. She worked for us. Aretha never took orders from nobody but God. So Aretha, as you get your rest, my mother passed about 6 years ago. President Clinton, my mother and I had a deal. She said, I'll meet you on the other side. You live the way you're supposed to, and I'll see you in heaven. I said, well, Mom, they tell me they're keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. How am I going to know?
Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. You know, Jenny Chris Johnson writes on the message board something that is absolutely the height the epitome of insensitivity, where Chris Johnson writes, the Republicans shut down the Great Gatsby, don't care about America survival. For him to have that Gatsby theme party in the middle of the shutdown, I've never seen such insensitivity displayed at a White House level. Let me say this, and I'm going back to Todd. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Like I said, I've already confirmed one or two very important people beyond this weekend to deal with the shutdown, to deal with the analysis of the election, to deal with how we deal with state by state these redistricting. I want people, the senators, the governors that's in the room, and we're really going to have 2 nights. You need to make sure you watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. In a week, on the 15th, it becomes MSNOW, MS Now. Same programs. I'll still be the same place, same time. But I want you to watch it over this weekend. You that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me at the Saturday Action Rally. We've got to follow up where we go from the election. It's not enough to win one election. What's the follow-up? And we get ready for our whole shareholders meetings attendance, where we're buying shares and going to shareholders to go into the shareholders meetings, deal with why they must have DEI. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can watch it at www.nationalactionnetwork.net live stream, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Saturday mornings. Let's go back to Todd. Go ahead, Todd.
So my friend Gigi, that's her nickname. She's one of the 2 air traffic controllers that I'm friends with. She's out there in California. She's gonna be okay, generally speaking, because her husband and her have 2 strong incomes. But it is California, and air traffic controllers don't make multi-million dollars of money. So she's using her sick time, which means that if she actually does get sick and needs some sick time, she's used some of it because she's got to go make some money because her job won't pay her, even though she's always been in good standings and the money's there for her to be paid. This kind of behavior leads to what I keep saying is a dereliction of duty by Congress. That person should be paid. And the person on the register here in Cleveland that I had that conversation with, that anybody could go back and listen to this recording and hear what I said about that person, they're going to ring up thousands and thousands of dollars worth of groceries this week, but they didn't get their stamps. And they're going to work less hours, most likely because they're going to have to give up some of their hours, which are going to be shortened, so that somebody else who has much less hours than them and needs the money just as bad can work, all because of this. This is all contributing to this. But my question that I should have gotten to a little bit earlier is this. This is you, Jennifer. Is there a legal means for private citizens to file suit? Well, you can file suit for any particular reason. Tell me this. The Republican Party is a private entity. These people are working more for their Republican Party, the private entity, than the taxpayer employment that they're duty bound and pledged constitutionally to work for, and blocking the citizens' money that's already been paid. Is there legal grounds for private citizens who may or may not be directly affected by this to push them, other than just saying, petitioning and saying we're going to vote you out? Is there other legal means for this?
I don't think so. I mean, we can always craft up an argument and try to threaten, but what you've got to remember is that the reason they're not getting paid is because there has not yet been a law passed to provide them with pay. The reason they're not, essentially right now, they're being furloughed. They're not, some of them have been fired, but they're being furloughed, but it's essentially like they don't have a job. Now, those are those who are coming to work and are not getting paid. They'll be, they could file a claim if Congress didn't come back and pass a law making sure that retroactive pay was provided them. But people who aren't coming to work, they're not doing the work. There's no law that's actually giving them, authorizing Congress right now to make the appropriation. That's the problem we've got. in order for government monies to flow, Congress has to appropriate the funds for them. If Congress doesn't appropriate it, then there's no money there. The
They
challenge is
refuse
trying
to bring
to
the
see
argument to the floor.
Right, but I guess what I'm trying to say to you is I don't know if that's actionable by an individual citizen. You might be able to bring something like, on behalf of the people, are they not doing their jobs? I don't know if you can sue the Republican Party itself. You probably have to sue Congress on the whole for not acting in the fulfillment of their roles. And again, I don't know if you'd have an individual right or would have to be brought on behalf of the people. It's uncharted water. I guess that's what I'm trying to say to you. I don't know of any cases.
I accept that.
And
I accept
you
that
can
it's true.
always try it. You can always try it.
It needs to be. I believe it needs to be done. I really do. It's not just the things that I just mentioned. It's airfares going up. Delta and United. They're not gonna keep losing all this money. They're not gonna keep losing all this money.
Yeah, but at the
And
same
just hold up
time,
business.
Todd, at the same time, if you could bring citizens, could bring this into court based on some class action or some other legal means of getting it into court. On the other side of that, couldn't those that cannot afford an increase in their premiums go to court and say that you don't have the right to not legislate or let the legislators decide on the Affordable Care Act because you are rendering some adverse behavior for me?
No.
Why not?
No, and this is coming from somebody who thinks that should be the Affordable Health Care Act should be extended, even though I'm not going to lose anything by it not being. Here's the difference. That hasn't expired yet. The premiums are going to go
expired
up.
November 1st.
Well, I mean, it hasn't. They're not going to. They're not affected immediately as these people are.
The
affected
premiums
immediately right now.
Premiums went up as soon as they expired. They are being affected.
I'll accept error on that one. I'll accept that. The difference between this and that is that they're requiring people to continuously go to work and will not pay them with money that the citizens have already sent to the federal government. And the SNAP program has already been funded as well, as far as the citizens sending the money to be available, and they're disrupting the very economy that they're saying they're trying to help out. I haven't looked into it closely. I'm a little irritated.
But the challenge is that I like the way you're thinking. The challenge though is we don't send money to the government when New York, when you as a taxpayer, in Ohio, me as a taxpayer in New York, when we send money to the federal government or when the state sends it, they collect our taxes and they send it. They're not sending it expressly for SNAP benefits or expressly for Medicaid. It's the Congress that says, okay, here's the pot of money we have, here's how it gets appropriated. And so the challenge that we would have in court is that Congress would be able to stand up and say, well, it's not that the states get to decide or individuals get to decide where this money specifically goes. We have that authority. And so it's not like they're holding the money. And what they would be saying, it's not like we're holding the money and the money's supposed to go to SNAP and we haven't handed it over. The problem is that there is no law yet that has, for fiscal year 2026, appropriated the money for SNAP. That's why it can't go out the door.
I accept that as truth. I understood that up front. My argument for what I'm suggesting is that they're refusing to allow things to come to the floor to be voted on that will remedy this so that the money can be appropriated because of their loyalty to party. They're established.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And that's why I was saying in the same way, and again, I'm not the lawyer Jenny is, I could argue that they will not come to the table or go to the floor and deal with the raising of premiums. And some people on the Affordable Care Act cannot afford the option of higher premiums. But again, all of this is why we are where we are. While Donald Trump is having Gatsby-themed parties and building a ballroom, you've got people that literally are being priced out of their health care. and literally working or forced not to be able to work because they have to do other jobs, as Todd is saying. And this Congress, every week, Speaker Mike Johnson is saying you don't have to come back to work to protect the Congress from coming in having to vote on the Epstein files. Don't forget that there was the Arizona special election and Grinaldi won. They will not swear her in because they know her vote would release those files. That's why they're not coming back to the House and putting it in session. We're dealing in very precarious times. Let me thank Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow.